the king. So you think you guys got a lot in common? In some aspects, yeah, we do. How are you guys? They're both.
For the sake of the weight difference, Terence Crawford isn't taking any chances against Canelo Alvarez. Instead of training alone, he's now added the skill and knowledge of the first man to beat Canelo Alvarez in the ring. Terence Crawford has chosen to start training camp very early, so he puts on weight and tries to get used to it before his fight in September. He does plan to take a short break in the middle of the year, though. Crawford had already invited Floyd Mayweather to his camp a long time before that, and the two of them had a great time. It was to be expected that Mayweather had to do most of his work on Crawford's defense. They did some dancing, worked on the shoulder roll, and did more body feints. Canelo Alvarez was 23 years old when Mayweather faced him, while Mayweather was in his mid-30s. However, Floyd Mayweather's defense was so good that Canelo Alvarez barely hit him in 12 rounds. It's an honor for Mayweather to have trained many great boxers over the years, including Ryan Garcia. Floyd Mayweather knows a lot about fighting, which helps Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis, his latest trainee, is Terence Crawford, and he did have some words to share with his fans about his time with Floyd Mayweather. Well, you might wonder why Terence Crawford, a professional boxer with 40 fights of experience, was seeking Mayweather's help at such a late hour. A few fights away from his retirement, his reason isn't far-fetched. However, Terence Crawford's next fight marks his start at 168 pounds. As a result, he went to Floyd Mayweather, who has been a world champion in 5 weight classes, for some lessons. Recently, in an interview, Floyd Mayweather brought back thoughts of his famous fight against Canelo Alvarez in a weight class.
Gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feel that way, you know, more power to him. I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually at it.
I have one fight, and the fight was at a catch weight, but it wasn't my plan. Anyone can go online and pull this up. It was a story. So with Canelo, at one time I think Canelo thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid, so he said, Floyd doesn't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152 pounds, and me. I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 and a half. That after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like it was a certain rule where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed 152 or 152 and a half. I think he came in at 168 or close to 170, but I came in at 151 or 15.
It was at a catch weight, but it wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, you know.
Perhaps Terence Crawford felt this was good enough for him as well, since he had so much to learn about the new weight class he'll be moving to in less than a month, despite the fact that boxing fans have seriously drawn comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, but refused to deprive the 50-0 boxing champion of his due honors. Terence Crawford respects Floyd Mayweather, and when he was asked about their similarities, he had a few more things to say as well. He's the king. Crawford praised and recognized Floyd's greatness.
Hit, not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters. You know,
He then continued, we have quite a lot in common in some areas, but we're a little different because I take more chances. Earlier in his job, he was taking a lot of chances in his career as well. It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. I mean, are you talking about money, or are you talking about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seeking killer. Then he started having hand injuries, so he couldn't really keep up with the same power, and he was moving up and fighting bigger.
I think, you know, I take more chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
you know, right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know,
like Crawford said, they have quite a lot in common. However, Boxing fans and supporters have compared both fighters to find the better fighter, and when they did, a news source put Crawford as the likely winner of a fight between the two fighters. When it comes to pure boxing skill, you'd be hard-pressed to find another producer of more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather you talk about? Do you talk about money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy.
The crisp jab, precision timing, and counterpunching ability all enabled Mayweather to pick his long list of opponents apart, and he did it over 2 iterations of himself.
Rich from the left hooks again. The lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off it on this here at the engine.
Just as Crawford said, Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive boxer, taking the fight to opponents, while Money Mayweather, years later, would compute and edge opponents out with brilliant boxing, whichever style you prefer. Both pieces of work made the legend that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. comparatively. Boxing fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Spence in his last fight, the power jab that he repeatedly snapped through Spence's guard, hitting in traffic, or the timing of counter punches, but showed supreme boxing ability. And it wasn't the first time, but we've never seen it like that against a fighter of Spence's caliber. When talking about pure boxing ability, arguably nobody should get a push over Mayweather, but Crawford's style of boxing is different yet effective, even explosive in its own right. So how would their boxing stack up if Crawford were to fight Mayweather in his prime, and use his lasering shots against Mayweather's disciplined sweet science? Who would make the jab first? Who would be the more successful counterpuncher? There are so many ways to see this play out that it might be best to call this category a draw. How many times have we witnessed Mayweather lull and finally lure his opponents to the middle of the ring, where he computed information, analyzed it, and uploaded a blueprint to pick his opponents apart? Mayweather took his ring IQ and mantra of hit and not get hit, and basically wrote it to the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division world champion. Crawford, in being crowned undisputed at junior welterweight and now welterweight, has shown a high ring IQ himself throughout his career. Mayweather showed hand speed, especially on the counterpunching end, but Crawford's slashing angles and whiplashing delivery but owning the edge in speed over Mayweather's 50 wins. 27 came by way of knockout. That's in comparison to Crawford's 40 wins, 31 of them coming via knockout. And he's still active. Now re-enter Crawford's wizardry over Spence, dropping him 3 times en route to a dominant 9th round TKO, defeating a power-punching, body-snatching fighter like Spence, who systematically broke down Kell Brooks, Sean Porter, and why Dennis Ugas to become the unified world welterweight champion was anything but easy. Yet Crawford made it look easy, and his power was a big reason why Mayweather painted in the corner, raising that shoulder into the Philly shell and absorbing shots with his arm while using his free hand to pick his punches. It was defensive boxing turned counter-punching at its very best.
Look at this defense, unbelievable. Young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're where and then he's nowhere. You think you... And again, it's not just hand quickness.
Crawford has some good defense to him as well, but Mayweather took defensive boxing skills to another level of damn near perfection. All thought up, how would a Crawford against a prime Mayweather fight actually go, and who would win? After a tense first round where each boxer is trying to feel out the other, we see Crawford being the more active and busy fighter early on, launching and scoring shots, even if many of them are absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder and elbow. By the middle rounds, Mayweather's style would set in as he peppered Crawford with jabs, winning some rounds.
Movement of the head, the way he rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes it miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Rip it fight for Mayweather. Oh,
Yet with a steady flow of pressure, Crawford's firepower could get to Mayweather even enough to hurt the legend at times, as close as we see this one being. Crawford's fighting skill and those whiplashing punches might be just enough to have judges credit him on his pressure and volume en route to a points win over Mayweather's brand of boxing. Well, moving away from the contrast, going up in weight isn't as easy as it seems to many, and to up his game, Terence Crawford is hoping not to repeat the mistakes of Canelo Alvarez some years back when he faced Dimitri Bivol. Hence Crawford is seeking as much help as possible. Canelo Alvarez's lofty ambition caught up with him, after the pound-for-pound king met his match in the form of unbeaten World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol Alvarez for division champion landed a career low 80 for punches overall in 12 rounds, as Bivol relied on his defense and accurate punching to pull the upset via unanimous decision. Inside T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, all three judges scored at 115,113 for Bivol in a fight that looked anything but competitive, as CBS Sports scored at 119, while 109 in favor of Bivol. 6 months after becoming the first undefeated super middleweight champion of the four-belt era, Alvarez moved back up to 175 pounds for the first time since claiming the World Boxing Council title via knockout from Sergey Kovalev in 2019. But during the same week he teased AOSPOS's possible move to heavyweight. Alvarez was unable to break through the technical strength of Bivol, a former Russian amateur star whose strength is muting the offense of his opponents. Bivol's jab was on point throughout, and he consistently reacted to any single punch landed by Alvarez with clean combinations in return. Bivol allowed Alvarez to stand at close range in front of him, but never gave him a clean enough strike zone to drop upon. Most of the damage Alvarez did hit on was to the left shoulder and arm of Bivol, who stayed firm behind his high guard. Alvarez, whose previous lone loss came against Floyd Mayweather in 2013, connected on just 177% of his punches against Bivol and was outlanded by a margin of 150 to 284, according to CompuBox. He also told reporters after that he thought he was ahead on the scorecards going into the final rounds. "He's a great winner. Sometimes in fighting you win or lose. I lost today and he won." Alvarez said, "He's a really good boxer. He's a fighter who comes in and goes out. I also felt his power. It was a good win for him. It's in a bid to avoid such damage that Crawford has sought Mayweather's advice." As for Floyd Mayweather, his results as a trainer and fighter speak for themselves. The most recent boxer that spent time with him shocked the world with a big win early this year. During a long interview with Patrick Bet David on a podcast, Garcia, the junior welterweight contender from Victorville, Calif, opened up about his much-publicized friendship with Money, making it clear that he respects the Hall of Fame fighter more than most people even within his inner group. When Bet David asked which high-profile person in his life had the license to offer him harsh, unbated criticism, "I want to know, which GOAT, greatest of all time, you allowed to secretly kick your head?" Garcia immediately named Mayweather. Bivol was asked to offer his views on a much-discussed possible battle between extremely talented fighter Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, regarded as one of the best in the sport today. "I remember when I came to the boxing gym, one of the first things I learned was you should respect weight classes, but Terence is one of my favorite active fighters. He has good skills, very good skills. Maybe he could show us something. He already knows what to do. His coach knows. They will find an answer on how to do it." Bivol was directly asked whether he thought Crawford might beat Canelo. Bivol said, "I can imagine it." This shows how much Bivol values Crawford's abilities despite having to challenge naturally larger opponent. Bivol also said that Crawford's ring knowledge could provide him an advantage over Canelo. "I could tell you that Crawford is one of the best boxers in the world right now. I see him with more fighting IQ."
Wanting to fight Canelo 3 divisions up. Good idea, bad idea?
I don't remember sizes of Terence Crawford.
Welterweight.
If he big, actually.
Maybe well, he's probably
Hall of Famer and ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley Jr. supports Terence Crawford in a matchup with Saul Canelo Alvarez. Bradley took to his YouTube channel to speak in favor of Crawford. "Everyone keeps talking about the weight," Bradley said. And indeed, Crawford only recently left middleweight for 154 pounds, while Alvarez has fought at 168 pounds since late 2020. Oh, he's going to knock him out. When the hell was the last time Canelo knocked somebody out? It has been a while. Alvarez last scored a halt against Caleb Plant in November 2021.
I don't know, someone told me to study Canelo, study Crawford. Crawford about to beat the shit out of Canelo Alvarez. I'm letting y'all know right now, he about to beat the brakes off of Canelo Alvarez.
Since then he has failed to knock out known foes Dimitri Bivol in a loss and a 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin but he also has gone the distance with opponents thought to be nowhere near his skill level, such as John Ryder, Jaime Munguia, and Edgar Berlanga. Jermall Charlo, naturally a junior middleweight, also went the distance with Canelo, though he was not nearly competitive with the super middleweight king. Y'all can quit with that he's going to knock Crawford out. Come on, man, Bradley said. Didn't we just see somebody, Alexander Usyk, fight a guy, Tyson Fury, who was quote-unquote 50 pounds bigger? Canelo's the same height as Crawford. He's not a natural 168 pounds. Usyk is a great fighter, absolutely. But you know who else is a great one? It's Crawford. The great ones know how to figure it out. Bradley highlighted Crawford's reach, 74 inches, which is 3.5 inches longer than Canelo's, and his ability to lower his opponent's output with his counterpunching. Alvarez is already a low-output fighter. Bradley thinks Crawford can win a decision by working from distance using straight shots in between Alvarez's spinning hooks and tiring Canelo out down the stretch. Don't go running away from the fight now, Canelo. Bradley, referring to the unified super middleweight title holder's apparent dodging of David Benavidez, imitating Canelo's higher-pitched voice, said, "Remember what you said. Easy fight, easy fight, easy fight, easy fight." Though a cluster of analytical boxing minds share Bradley's opinion that most in the fight game think the size and power difference is too great for Crawford to impose his skills. Bradley, known for his strong points of view, is sure in his unpopular take. "I'm going to get back to my Haterade," he announced towards the end of the video, sipping his drink. You already know whether the boxing world will get to know a Canelo-Crawford matchup would seem to be out to Alvarez-Crawford, who became the undisputed welterweight champion in July 2023 after stopping division rival Errol Spence Jr. inside 9 rounds, made even more history for himself earlier this year when he became a 4-division champion, outpointing Israel Madrimov to capture the World Boxing Association title at 154 pounds. Mexican star Canelo has also enjoyed his fair share of success in recent years.
Now, listen, I think Berlanga's a talented kid who's getting better. He's improved recently. I think he still needs more seasoning, but I see an improvement in him. He is a talented kid.
After picking up the undisputed super middleweight title in 2021, he fell short in a challenge against the then World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol. But the 34-year-old has since picked up 5 wins on to spin, defeating the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Jermall Charlo, and Edgar Berlanga. Along the way, legendary boxing trainer-turned-analyst Teddy Atlas has offered his insight to Fight Hub TV into the potential mega fight between the two stars, stating that he would find it hard to go against the American southpaw. Very few people have the appetite or inclination for challenging themselves. Mr. Crawford does. I ain't never going against that guy. Father Time might catch him, but I don't know if a weight class can catch him. It's a great challenge because Canelo is a tremendous fighter and bigger and stronger, and he can punch and time you, but just because you're smaller, Crawford will come up with a game plan that will make the other guy use his size. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, McIntyre gave a glowing reference to the undefeated Crawford, who is linked to fighting Canelo in May or September. Crawford has all the tools to win a third weight undisputed crown. Any serious boxing fans know Crawford can beat Canelo. You have to know fighting to be able to say that. DAC told Fight Hub if Canelo and Crawford were to fight either Saturday, the 3rd of May, or the 10th of May, 2 of the weekend dates closest to Cinco de Mayo, a key part of boxing's calendar, are open, but Canelo is perhaps waiting to see what happens with the outcome of a 22nd of February fight between light heavyweight rivals Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Beterbiev beat Bivol in the first fight last year. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay linked with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality content like this. Until next time, peace out.